So I'm here with Lorelle Frazer, who heads up the Asia Pacific Centre for Franchising Excellence at Griffith University. Lorelle, you've been doing some studies recently about franchisee success and survival trends. Could you just share some of those with us?
We've just released those. What we did was we looked at the performance, we compared the performance of franchisees with independent small business operators during the economic downturn. Right. So, Australia wasn't badly hit by the GFC as with other countries, but even so we did suffer from the economic downturn, particularly from about 2008 to 2012. So we used that opportunity to gather this information because when businesses are doing well, when the economy is going well, it's pretty easy for businesses to do well. Yeah. But when the economy was in a tough position, then it was a really good opportunity to see what were the factors that made a business survive compared with one that struggled or failed. So we did that and we compared the two models, franchisees and independent small business operators.
And so what have been the interesting findings out of that research?
Well, the interesting thing is that franchisees are very, very different to independent small business operators. And of course, the thing that attracts people to franchising is the fact that it's less risky for them if it's your first time in business. And franchisees definitely are risk-averse people, whereas the independent people were much more willing to take greater risks. So they have quite different personality profiles. And the things that the franchisees really valued were things that the franchise system can provide. So number one was the franchise brand. They have a national brand behind them and they're known straight away. The franchisor's support, particularly the initial training, the ongoing training and the marketing support, things like that. Information that the franchisor was able to give them to help them with their decision about getting into franchising. Now, all of those things, an independent small business operator has none of it. So they have to do it themselves. They don't have that support network behind them. Sometimes they outsource it. They might pay for a business mentor or something, but it's not the same, and they couldn't react quickly like franchise systems did during the economic downturn because the franchisees could go straight to their franchisor or their field support officer and get help with marketing and things like that to help them.
So is there any particular trend or profile with franchisees, the ones that are successful? Can you sort of draw a portrait of a successful franchisee?
Yes, this is what the whole purpose of doing the research was, to find this out. And there were definitely some characteristics related to survivors, people who got through this tough time. They're quite interesting. Firstly, survivors tended to be younger operators, so there's not much hope for the oldies. So the younger people, and they were more highly educated. They had a much more positive outlook about going into business. So, the glass half full people, not glass half empty. Yeah. A very important factor was the level of debt that people held. So the higher the level of debt, the more likely they were to fail. And that's one of the issues with franchising, because there's easy access to finance. So they have to be careful not to overcommit, because it's hard to service that debt when times get tough. The other things were they were more autonomous people who survived and more adaptable, could adapt quickly to the situation and quickly change things in their businesses. And the final thing I'd say was due diligence. People who undertook more thorough due diligence were more likely to survive.
Okay, really interesting. Thanks very much.
Thank you.